All right, I think we've got this thing going. All right, let's start with a quick welcome, everybody. Hey, welcome to the very first ever weekly Gymwright live Q&A session. This is going to be something we're going to be doing every week, where we're going to be basically taking a topic or breaking down the show for the week as we roll out the Gymwright podcast here, and actually opening this up to you guys to be able to ask questions about that podcast, break it down. Since we don't have a podcast for you guys yet, that's going to be coming out here in the next couple of weeks, I have with us here today our very own in-house social media and advertising guru, Mr. William Albritton. William, pleasure to have you on. Guys, today we're going to be, today we've got a really cool topic for you. This is a actually very simple but very effective strategy for really relationship building using some really cool retargeting techniques. William, why don't you tell us a little bit about what we're going to talk about today?
Yes, so I'm going to lay out a strategy of how to build an audience and start building trust and getting people warmed up to you before they ever actually come into your gym. So when they do come into your gym, there's no like sales. I mean, there is a sales process, but it doesn't feel salesy. It feels like you both already kind of know each other. They know what you're about, and they trust you. So it warms them up. I mean, the worst thing, or at least for me personally, the worst thing to do is cold call people, or just, that hard salesy push. I did not want to do that. And really that's why I just dove into marketing, to figure out how to do this with our authentic voice and personality. And we're going to talk today about how to do that.
Beautiful. Yeah, it's there's a lot to be said about someone showing up to, let's say, that very first intro session and being like, William, it's so funny. I feel like I already know you. Right? It completely changes the conversation. You're not starting at zero, right? You're actually getting to start already warmed up. It feels you feel more connected already, which allows the whole conversation to be much more natural.
Right. I believe Sarah Carter just commented and said we're not getting any sound.
I'm not sure, Sarah. I mean, I seem to be hearing everything all right on my end. Hopefully this isn't something that is applying to everybody. Is anybody else who's listening getting any sound or having any sound issues? I guess if I'm asking, they probably can't hear me. We'll give it a second here. Sorry about that, Sarah. Hopefully we can get that figured out for you here shortly. I have sound on mine. Okay, so Chandler hears us. Okay, cool. Thanks, Abby. Thanks, Chandler.
Sorry,
I didn't
divert us there with that comment. So I'm just going to dive into it and just start off with a little story. So, all right. So, have you ever been at your gym and somebody comes in? There's a particular profession I'm thinking of, and I won't name it because, of course, it doesn't apply to everybody. But there's certain people in this profession. I feel like they've been going to like all these sales and marketing courses. All right, so they come in, and this profession is, they're healers. They're not physical therapists, but they're people that if you have an injury, you can go to them. But they're always, there's this one guy that used to be a member at our gym, and he's not there anymore, so I'm not talking about any current members if they ever happen to see this. But he was always trying to sell his services. And so if anybody had an injury, he was up there like, and it was just much more salesy than helpful, because it's like he really wouldn't help you in the gym. He would try to get you into his office. And it got to the point where the joke was, if you're injured and so-and-so walks in, don't let them know. So people are like, oh, no, I don't have my wrist is not hurting, and just to try to avoid this. We all know. I'm fine. Yeah. We all know those people, you go to a party and somebody just immediately starts trying to sell you something. You're like, man, I just want to hang out and relax. I'm not trying to get sold. As opposed to the type of person, like I was at an event the other night. I just had I have a 15-year-old daughter, our first kid. And this guy was telling me, he's a financial advisor. And he was telling me about like this savings account. I can set it for my daughter for her college, and it saves me all kind of taxes. And he wasn't trying to get me to do it through him. I don't even think he offers the service. He was just being nice and telling me about it. And about a week later, I started thinking, man, I really need to do some investing with a good chunk of money that I had. And so a few days after that, I see an ad for this guy, and I'm like, man, I'm going to go to that guy. And I did. I went and invested with him. And so that whole concept of helping somebody out and then showing them an ad, whether it's a billboard or something like that, is a great concept. But what I just described is not really scalable. I mean, you can't go to a party every night, give some people advice, and they just happen to see your billboard the next day.
Not with that attitude, William.
Yeah, right.
Just step up your party game.
I mean, my party days are over with, but maybe back in the day. But what we can do, we can take that model on Facebook and make that scalable to literally thousands of people. And so what it is, it's so yeah, I'm just going to dive into a little more details of what that strategy is like and how we carry that out on Facebook. And it's all about producing content videos. So that's the core of it. That's where we add that value. That's where, like, that financial advisor gave me those tips. Like, that's where we're giving people in your community tips. And a content video, different people may describe it different ways. So just the definition I'm using is a video that gives free value that really helps out people and does no selling. So let me give you an example. One content video we've been using with our clients that works really, really well is, Marcus, you heard that saying about, like, to stay healthy, stay on the outside aisle of the grocery store?
Yep. Shop the perimeter.
Okay. Yeah. So you get one of your coaches, you go to the grocery store, you're filming them, and the coach starts off with that saying, and he says, look, that's absolutely true. Let me show you why. So he starts walking around. It's like the first thing you usually come to is the fruit and vegetables. And that's a good source of carbs. It has minerals, vitamins. And look, here's some potatoes. That's great, especially if you're doing intense workouts. Then you move to the meat section. You talk about how meat's good. And basically, you get around. It's just an engaging way to teach people about nutrition. Then at the end of it, you may say, hey, if you have any questions, just comment below. But there's no sales. It's not like you're going into, oh, yeah, we have great nutrition coaches at our gym. Y'all come check us out. You're not doing any of that. No sale, just free value. I mean, it's the same thing you'll be doing with the podcast. You're just giving away free value, and that creates that audience. People start paying attention to you. They start trusting you. They start viewing you as the expert. And so in Facebook, you'd actually upload that video, and you run what's called a video view ad. And for probably $30, you could reach anywhere from 2,000 to 4,000 people. We did a video the other day. It was titled 3 Drinks That Won't Blow Your Diet. We actually went to a local bar and had somebody film it. That video got 25,000 views in a small community for like $20. So that's 25,000 people. I mean, that's really significant. And so now what you do, Facebook creates a list. So that video I just talked about, now we have a list of 25,000 people. And we can actually send all those people an ad inviting them to come in for the trial. And so just like that example I start off with, we warmed them up, we built trust, gave them free value, no sales, and then we invited them in. And on top of that, we're still not even selling them yet. We're inviting them in for a free trial. And the trial is a good idea to, like, give them some value in the trial. Make them feel like even if they decide not to sign up, there's still value. So, things like, hey, we're going to do a nutrition consultation, dial into nutrition. We're going to teach you a lot about exercise. So you know what? If you decide that we're not the right place for you, like, you'll still leave with a ton of knowledge.
Sure. Yeah, I like this a lot. This is a great way for you, for one, to just really establish yourself as an expert in your community, even to those who aren't necessarily maybe at that stage in their buyer's journey where they're actually ready to come in and try you out. You are building your case and your reputation far beyond just the people who are necessarily coming in, let alone you're actually directly addressing those people and then now warming that whole conversation, that relationship up before they ever even show up, which obviously is going to allow you to progress much more quickly in any sort of like sales sequence or anything like that. So just to kind of recap and kind of zoom out for everybody, what we're talking about here is a really simple retargeting strategy. So basically the way that we would do this, William, is this is for the people who visit your website and have not yet signed up for a trial. Is that correct? Right. So this is for the web traffic that hits your site. We're retargeting those people, and then those people are then going to start seeing these just value videos, basically, right? Where we're showing them like the supermarket trick, or we're explaining, some really great reasons as to why, functional fitness works, or a success story, or a coach's bio. These kinds of things to really build the relationship around the gym as a reminder, like, oh, that's right, I checked out that site maybe a few days ago. And now we're able to kind of re-engage them and maybe get them to take that next step and complete that initial free offer trial or whatever the deal is, right?
Right, and we can use this in two ways. So we can use it, just like you said, to retarget people that visited our website. Because, most people just need an extra nudge to do something. If you're like me, I visit a website and I had good intentions to go back and buy or do whatever, but I usually don't. I just needed that extra nudge. So it's a good way to nudge people. And so for that's for the people that are already coming to you. It's also a great tool to go out and find people to build your audience. So you can send this to everybody in your community that's interested in fitness and actually go out and seek those people and start to build that audience.
Awesome. So a way you can actually kind of stack these two on top of each other, which is really how great advertising and marketing campaigns work. It's very rarely just one ad to one landing page, and that's the whole deal. Those do exist, but that's not really how you create a long-term strategy. It's a layering process. So this is a really great example because you can say, okay, let's start by creating that first video or set of videos to just get ourselves out there, right? To get people to visit our site and to find us. Then once they visit the site, you can set up a retargeting with a second set of videos now to basically continue to build that and hopefully get them to engage. Because like you said, you have really good intentions when you go visit a site. I do this all the time. I'll be talking to someone or someone will mention something and I'll be like, oh, I'll look that up really quickly and I'll pop it open in a quick window, give it like a 5-second scan, or maybe, and then I'll get back to it later. But if I forget to come back, which happens all the time, then it could be a week or two before I remember to do so, right? Until it comes back up in conversation. But if I were to happen to see an ad, or not necessarily an advertisement, but now start seeing more content about them, like really good retargeting campaigns do, they'll start to show you things of value and say, oh, that's right, I wanted to check it out. You click through, and now I may have a few more minutes to dive, again, one layer deeper until I take that action. So for those of you listening, this is a really good way for you to start and build a foundation for your advertising campaign.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the most effective way out there to retarget. So the old school way, and I'm not going to say it's too old school because it's still around, would be email retargeting, which is still a great tool. But, a lot of us have gotten immune to email. So, I don't know what the stats are on the open rate, but when email first came out, it's like 95% of the emails got open. Now it's, way, way less than that. But this is a way that's a little bit different from email retargeting because they don't necessarily view it as they don't necessarily view it as an ad. It does have a little sponsored word up in the top. But if it's a good content video, nobody's really feeling like they're getting sold.
Right. If there's no deliberate call to action at the end, right? There's no like hard ask, then it's like, oh, that was just legitimately a really cool video, right? So yeah, you don't have to, and actually shouldn't have a really aggressive offer or like big, thumbnail or something that pops up at the end, as much as like, this is really just about getting yourself out there. But you obviously want to have something just simple. If they want to click through, hey, visit our site or something like that, it could take them to the next step or to the landing page if you like, which obviously should be intentional on our end as the marketer, though, trying to get the conversation going. Very good, William. Now, for those listening to this who may be thinking, hey, this is really, this is all sounds great, but I don't really know how to build any of this stuff. Where do I start? The tech is a little over my head. do you have some tools that you can share with our audience where you can kind of walk them through exactly how to do this themselves, even if they're a total novice?
Yeah, so what I'm going to do after this call, I have a video, an explainer video that's going to bring you into Power Editor and walk step by step exactly how to set up this video, as an ad, and I'm going to put another video up saying how to retarget everybody that watched that video. And so I said Power Editor. Power Editor is just a tool that you set up to use Facebook ads. I won't go too deep into this right now, but Facebook is currently, so Facebook has 2 tools you can use to set up ads, actually 3 tools. One, there's the Boost Post. Don't use that. Don't use Boost Post. Then they have Ads Manager and they have Power Editor. They're currently combining Ads Manager and Power Editor to be one. So anyway, I'm going to show you a video in Power Editor, but if you use Ads Manager, they almost look exactly alike, so you can use it. But use Ads Manager or Power Editor to set this up.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, William, I think we can open the floor up now to questions. Do we have any questions from people watching, listening here? Anything that we can address specifically for you while we've got the live feed running?
And while people may...
Go ahead.
I was going to say, while people may be typing in their questions, real quick on content videos, just a few quick practical things when you're shooting a video. You can do it with an iPhone. You don't need a videographer, but try to get somebody that knows somewhat what they're doing when they're shooting a video. And because now these days, a lot of people are using video, so they need to be a little bit higher quality. Make sure the sound is good. That's actually more important than the video itself, because people are not going to fight to watch this video. I don't care how valuable the content is. If they can't hear it, they're not going to stick it up to their ear or anything.
100%.
So we can turn over to questions.
Yeah, real quick. Yeah, on that. I mean, a lot of people ask about that. I don't have the right equipment, or it's expensive to go buy. If you've got an iPhone 7 or even like a 6, even something decent, just understanding some basics around getting the lights set up so people can see you, and then knowing that the audio quality overrides video quality always, because no matter how good it looks, if it sounds terrible, people will shut it off in 2 to 3 seconds, right? And where on the other side, it's like if it doesn't look great but it sounds good, people will continue, right, if it's making sense. So quick note for you guys. All right, so let's go into the first question from Meg Herman. Can you explain why Boost Post is not a good strategy?
Okay, so on Boost Post, one thing I do want to say is a lot of marketers out there that do kind of use that salesier verbiage, like they're starting to put up headlines like, if you use Boost Post, you're wasting your money. Things like that. I'm not one of those people. I'm not going to say like these extreme comments, so I'll explain why I wouldn't use Boost Post. But I'll explain why when sometimes it may be okay. So we're talking about setting up an overall strategy here. So, we're talking about creating a video, then retargeting that. We're not just talking about randomly seeing a good post on our page and clicking Boost for $10 to send it out to everybody. And so Boost Post is very limited in that way. It is getting a lot better. Used to, you could only click it. You had like 2 options, like ad spend and the date, and it would just send it to everybody. But now you can start targeting people, but it just doesn't allow you to do as much. And then if you're going to get into a really longer term strategy, you can't manage these ads through Boost Post. You can't see what's going on. I mean, you click Boost Post and you don't know if that ad's still running, or you got to kind of remember in your head, did I start that 3 days ago? It's just, you can't manage it with an overall strategy. When do you want to use it? If you post a cool picture from your gym, you're like, man, that's really good. I don't have time to do it. Let me just boost it real quick. Yeah, that's fine to do.
Sure, better than nothing, but it shouldn't necessarily be part of the ad strategy, if you will.
Yeah, if you're going to be retargeting video views, you want to learn how to do Ads Manager.
Awesome. Cool. All right, we've got next question here from Chandler Davis. Says, William, I have your campaign from Out of Box, and I know it's set up as a 90-day campaign. When running a campaign and putting out content, how long do you go before making an ask? I.e., how long do you jab before the right hook? Should it always be 90 days? Great question.
All right, so the jab, so what Chandler's referring to, there's a book by Gary Vaynerchuk called Jab, Jab, Right Hook. And so the jabs are those little nuggets of value that you're giving away. So in our case, it's the content videos. And then the right hook is the sale. That's when you ask people to come in. And so Chandler's just asking, how far apart should you make those right hooks? Chandler is a good marketer. He knows what's going on. So he's realizing that you shouldn't always be making right hooks. You shouldn't be making these big offers all the time, like 30 days free, 21-day boot camp. You shouldn't be doing that all the time because it devalues your service. Most people watching this charge over $100 a month. People are expecting a premium service. So that's why he's kind of asking, like, should I wait every 90 days? And I would say for a big offer, big being, if you're giving away 2 weeks for $20 or 30 days for $30, you should try to spread those out at least 3 months, maybe even 6 months. But that free trial offer, where you're just like giving a one free trial session away, that's not giving away much. So you can have that running all the time. And a lot of times it's a field. So, you may say, okay, I'm going to launch an offer now. I'm going to launch another one in 90 days. And you get 2 months, 60 days go by, and you just can kind of feel like, man, I feel like a lot of people have already forgot I did that offer. I think I can go ahead and do one. Or you may get to 90 days and be like, man, that's still kind of fresh on people's minds that we just did that 30 days for free. Let me wait another month. So, yeah, I hope that answers that.
Awesome. Let's see here. I don't have any more questions quite yet. Yeah, so just on that note, I think that's actually a really important point to elaborate on a little bit, William. How about frequency and just, the difference between just continuously running those like really direct, really like, hey, this is our big deal ad, and how that needs to play into a larger strategy. It's marketing is a long game, right? And advertising has to be a part of a bigger story, right? Advertising is just a part of an overall story that is being. I think I should just, as always, need to always have this steady flow. But really, you end up just taking, you're kind of like abusing the attention, if you will, right? People will get numb to it. People will stop caring. It'll be like, oh, this is always here. It's a constant deal. And versus you providing value and building kind of subconscious interest with someone over time. And then it's like, we only have a limited spot. It's for a limited time. I think that's a really important thing. Can you elaborate on that a little bit for our audience?
Yeah. I mean, it's just like with email marketing, people get numb to it. And that's why it's numb to sales. I mean, if somebody's always trying to help you, that's great. We can all think of people in our lives that we're just like, man, I almost feel like that person was put on earth to serve me. I mean, you enjoy those people, you enjoy being around them. And every once in a while, that person asks you for help on something, like you're glad to do it. So same thing here, just giving those right hooks and just giving that value, and then every once in a while asking for something.
Yep. Awesome. Okay, we've got another question here from Mr. Kyle Turner. Question is, what do you suggest for a resource for people totally new to marketing? Well, William, you want to answer this one first?
Let's see. That's a good question.
Kyle, while we kind of start on that, Kyle, can you elaborate on that a little bit, specifically where you need help? Because that's a very broad question, because we could be talking about internal marketing, external marketing, advertising. Elaborate on that if you can give us a little bit of a specific.
Yeah, and while he's maybe responding to that, I'll kind of go through what I went through, just from a, if you're trying to start marketing next week, I don't know if I have an answer for you right now, but if you're like willing to invest a little bit of time and research, two good books that really helped me was Simon Sinek, Start With Why. And that's not just for marketing, that's for your whole business. But really that helps so much with marketing, that book. Yeah, it helps with life, but definitely marketing. There's another book, I think this is an older book, maybe from the 60s or 70s, maybe not that old, but The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Marketing. That's a good book to start with. Let's see, I think you said creative design, content, how to use software. Creative design. Canva is a good tool, Canva. I saw Shane posted in this group the other day about that app. But maybe just even for right now, just Googling how to take good videos or quick tips on good pictures, you could probably get some good ideas there on design.
Yeah, when it comes to design, I think a lot of people they overcomplicate it. It's not you don't have to go as far as you used to when it comes to design. It really just needs to be like a quality photo, a quality video, and just making it look clean. And at the end of the day, being smart about the people in the photo or people in the video, right? So making sure that they're relatable to who you're targeting, right? So really understanding who your brand hero is. So if you're trying to target a soccer mom as your, for the program you're looking to sell, and you're using some 22-year-old ripped dude, clean and jerking 240 pounds, it's probably not going to work. So really just, I think, trying to stay relative in regards to your choices for image or video, and then just keeping it clean and keeping basic quality there. And then using something as basic as Canva. Shane put together that really basic how-to that walks you through literally all you really need to know in order to be effective.
Yeah, clean design right now is so key. Facebook, actually, if you have text on your ad, if you have any text in your post, Facebook is going to show it to less people, so you can go in below and see reach. That's how many people have seen your post. And Facebook just doesn't like all that junky like text and logos all over it. So sometimes it is good. Sometimes you need to put something on there, but just like clean, bold, white writing, if you need to put something. But if you don't need to write anything on the image, just focus on learning how to take a good image. You really don't need a lot of graphic design.
Yep. All right, we got one from Crystal Kliegel. Are the time intervals that you suggest for the big deals for internal marketing to be the same as external, i.e. you mentioned 90 days to 6 month spacing between big ads? So take this away so you can see your pretty face.
Let's see, internal marketing, there's all kind of things you can internally market. So if you're internally marketing a nutrition challenge, you may, I'm not sure if you're talking about that, or there's even like a whole strategy you can do for internally marketing when you're going to do a price increase. If you have like a mobility program that's not paid for, that's including the membership, nobody's using it, you may internally market for that. So I would say if it's something like that mobility program they're not paying for, and you can market that as much as you want, and just always keeping it in their face, and you should. So like a few things you could do for that mobility program, and this could be for anything. I know at gyms we always do stuff, and people are like, man, you need to do this endurance class. Man, you get so many people, like 2 people show up, but it's like a really valuable class. So for that, you can do some posting. One, you need to have a private Facebook group. I kind of assume people have that, but a lot of people don't. You need to have a private Facebook group. So when you're internally marketing, if that endurance class is just for your members, don't post that on your public page. Or you may do it once, but you don't need to keep reminding the public about your endurance class that's just for your members. You may say, hey, we have a great class, but that's all you need to do. But internally, building up, maybe every 3 days, you're saying, hey, we're about to launch this class on so-and-so date. Once the class starts, even if people can't sign up for it anymore, post pictures of the class and start posting testimonials. The testimonial, since it's internal, can just pull out your iPhone real quick and do a Facebook Live video. It doesn't have to be this real big production of a testimonial since it's internal. And then afterwards, talk about the results. So that way, you're setting people up for your next event. So that's how the internal market for, say, a free mobility class or course you do. Now, if you're going to do a pay-for nutrition challenge, yeah, I would go back to that 90-day interval or even 6 month
180.
Yeah. Just don't do it too often if you're going to have to pay for it.
Yeah, you don't want to turn your members off by becoming that like you're constantly trying to shove something new down their throat. I'm actually more cautious with internal marketing than I am with external for those intervals, only because these are existing relationships that you don't want to dilute with like, oh, here he's going to try and sell me something again. Keep it fewer and far between, and be very choosy about what you're doing internally, as you don't want to break that trust with people. You want them to open your emails. You want them to pay attention to your Facebook posts in your private group. So I would suggest be a little bit more cautious internally. All right, next question. What's up, Jeremy? Jeremy Illenberger. As a beginner, how many hours of the work week would you recommend dedicating to learning, practicing, laughing marketing efforts? It was just a typo, but go ahead, William.
It depends how much time.
Launching marketing efforts.
I don't like it. You could carve out some time, like just say every Monday from 8 to 10, I'm going to read a few of those. Putting out more content in this group that you can implement. Like, so actually for the next month, this is what you can do. Carve out 2 to 4 hours every week, read through a couple of those books. I'm going to be putting a video under here in the comments. Read those books for about the next 2 weeks, implementing those videos, exactly what I tell you to do in the comments. And you can actually probably spread that out over 2 months, and that'd be a great start.
Yeah, that's actually exactly what I was going to suggest, William. I like to break my week into blocks. So marketing would get a day, and I would dedicate like a 3 to 4 hour block. Start with the first like 30 to 45 minutes, or depending on what your balance is, on kind of getting the creative juices going by reading and learning. And then the kind of like second half or 3/4 of the time block, then to actually implementation. That's actually a lot compared to what most people are doing, because most people are just kind of trying to squeeze in, 30 minutes here, 30 minutes there. But having one larger block will actually get way more done. So yeah, I think we're on the same page there, William. All right, so question from Abby. What are some ideas? Let me switch here real quick. What are some ideas for how to market for an upcoming event that hasn't generated the kind of interest you want? Good question. This is actually something that we're going to be covering in our first podcast episode. But really, promoting an event for an upcoming event that hasn't generated the kind of interest you want yet. So I'm assuming, Abby, you're talking about something that you've already started to promote that's not performing the way that you want it to? Or is this just generally like, how do you effectively promote an event? I think, okay, well, either way, let me break it down like that. So the key to promoting an event, I look at it as a 3-phase approach, right? So we have pre-promotion, then you have intra-promotion, and then you have post-promotion. And oftentimes you'll get, if you're not good at this, like if you historically have not promoted something really, really well every time, your members are used to that. And they're used to things just kind of being blah or not really hitting the mark. And so what you really need to do is you need to kind of go through this cycle 1 or 2 times to show people, they're like, oh, wow, this looks really different. This one looked really exciting. This one looked really fun. So pre-promotion, really simple. You can start by putting it into a newsletter, write it on the whiteboard, and have your coaches at the beginning of every class bring it up kind of like as the opener to the whiteboard talk, and doing that in a way where it's not just like, hey guys, just a reminder, we have our barbecue coming up. I would work with your coaches to really inject some personality and engage people. So something like, hey, Steve, what are you doing next Friday? And they'll be like, I don't know. And you're like, perfect, great. Well, I'll see you at the barbecue. Are you going to bring the mashed potatoes or am I? Right? And just like people like, oh, and then it kind of turns into a silly thing. Like, hey guys, just a quick reminder. We've got the barbecue going on next week. Got that Facebook event. Make sure you register yourself. Friends or family are welcome. Turn it into a conversation piece at the beginning of every class for like a 1 or 2 week period. People will get the point. That will already make a big difference. Then, like I said, setting up a face makes a big face event, which is all about you actually taking tons of pictures and videos of like it going down, and maybe even doing like a quick like Instagram live or adding it to your Instagram stories, and really documenting the entire event. The key to this is to really go into it with intent. And what that means is to not just show up like, hey, are you going to take some pictures while we're there? No, you go in, you tell someone, hey, you're in charge of taking pictures. I want them all to be like, you know, in landscape mode with your phone. I want one of like a big group, maybe in the first like hour. Funny part when we're doing, you know, this part of the event, we're, you know, walking the whatever balance beam or whatever some fun things are to document. Make sure that they know going into it so that they're paying attention, actually documenting it. And then the third phase, which is where a lot of this comes in, then is you take that content within like a 24-hour period after hosting your event, post the best pictures, tag everybody in it, have staff comment on it. Oh, look at that funny bowling technique or whatever it is. And make sure people are like, oh, damn, it really went down. They were talking about it like crazy. I saw that there were some like Instagram stories and pictures and a Facebook Live while they were doing it. And then, wow, looks like everybody had a good time. You're reconditioning your community to now start to re-engage. So you'd be like, all right, you guys all missed out. Even if there was 5 people who showed up to that event, the point is you made it look like, yeah, but you missed out by not being there. It was epic. And you're going to start to recondition your members over time, so that the next time you do it, you're like, all right, guys, you don't want to miss out like you did last time. Be there. And now you can start to re-engage those people. So this is kind of an example around maybe a slightly numb or tired member base that you kind of need to reinvigorate. But those 3 phases apply always. That's really how you want to approach every single event that you do. Strong pre, make sure you plan out your intro, and then afterwards share it. And then the other thing you can do with those pictures that you posted and tagged is then make sure you put a collage in your newsletter in the following month saying, hey, thanks everybody again for coming. We had such a good time. Do a throwback Thursday a few weeks later, and again, highlight the best part of the event. And so people get used to like, oh, I clearly missed out. I got to be there. So that'll be a great way to help you get that going. Anything you have to add to that, William?
No, that's perfect. I mean, just concentrating before, during, and after. And then realizing, like all marketing, this is a long-term game. So that during and after, those people have already missed the event, but what you're doing is setting them up for the next event.
Yep, exactly right. Cool. All right. Well, I think unless we have another question roll in here in the next minute or so, I think we can start to wrap it up. William, anything you want to share before we jump for the day or for the week?
Yeah. All right. So if you're listening, this is very profound if you listened up to this point, because it's an action item you can do now to set yourself up for the new year. So start getting those content videos together. Let's see, it's October 20th. Start spending the next 3 to 4 weeks filming the content videos. I've already given you 2 good ideas that have worked for my gym and several other clients. Come up with about 5 total content videos. And so let's say I said a month. So about mid-November, I want you to start posting 1 of those a week. I want you to look in the comments and run the video view ad. Like I said, you don't have to retarget anybody, just run the video view ad. And then January 2nd this year is on a Tuesday. For that entire week, I want you to retarget everybody that watched the video. I want you to send an ad to everybody that's interested in CrossFit or fitness and wellness in your area for a good offer. Like your offer could be 30 days for $30, 2 weeks for $20. So that's one is going to retarget everybody, but it's also going to get all these new year people in. So that's your strategy for the rest of the year.
Awesome. We have one last question here. We'll address before we jump from Jason Fernandez. How much would you recommend outsourcing your Facebook or Instagram ads over doing them yourself?
Well, it really depends. All right. So there's that saying that we either have time or money, and you have to spend one. If you have the money, you could do. I say you could do it all. You need to at least be doing the photos and the content videos. Like you don't need. I mean, you need to show your coaches, your faces. Now you can hire a videographer to come and film the content videos. Those are the two things you really must do, or have your coaches do it. Hire somebody on staff to do that, and then you can hire somebody to post, to run the ads, to do everything else. If you have more time and don't have much money, you can do everything yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's an important exercise to at least go through a couple of these, even especially the basic strategies we shared today on your own, so that you can get an understanding of the mechanics of this stuff and really just understand, okay, I at least have a basic understanding of how this stuff works before I just completely hand it over to somebody else. But yeah, if you have the cash to be able to have someone do the kind of the technical work, making sure that you're still like, I'm never a fan of completely outsourcing like the images and the videos to where it's just some like random company using their stuff, because you're losing that whole relationship building factor we talked about in the very beginning of this thing, where this is a really easy opportunity for you to build a relationship with someone before they ever even come into your gym, right? So take that opportunity, and even if it's a not so fancy video of yourself that someone did with a phone, it's actually still better than someone else's video more often than not. So you being in the content is super important, but I'm a huge fan of leverage and making sure you can make the most of your time. I value my time much more than me sitting there and tinkering with my ads myself. So I prefer to have someone do it for me rather than doing it myself. So, okay, cool. Well, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here for this week. I want to thank all of you who were able to join us for the live recording and contributing to the questions. We had some awesome questions today. Thank you, all of you. Like I said, we're going to be doing this every week. And they usually will be on Friday mornings. We'll always be announcing earlier in the week exactly when we'll be doing it. But for now, we'll be 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time next week. And we will be doing a live podcast breakdown and Q&A session as soon as that launches here in the next couple weeks as well. So stay tuned. And those of you who are listening back after the fact, weren't able to catch it live, hopefully we'll get you on next week. So, William, thank you again for joining us today. Ton of value. You're awesome. And we'll see all of you guys next week.